man during Trump's first presidency, so you know that this story is about to get crazy, by the name of Jordan Goodrow was also an Army Green Beret that randomly decides that he's going to start his own defense contracting company. And in 2020, he orchestrated a highly illegal coup of Venezuela. Now, he basically planned, and with other former service members of our military, so we have a lot of accountability in this, planned a coup with dissent groups in Venezuela as well as people from Colombia, and he heavily armed them. They basically arrive, and most of them are either killed or detained immediately by Venezuela. And now, of course, he's back home in the United States where he's perfectly comfortable, and this is called Operation Gideon. That's definitely not legal, and it's definitely part of Trump's stochastic terrorism. But it is also why Maduro kind of got this very strong paranoia. It was this event in May of 2020 that made him crack down on arrest. COVID was going on at the time, so you can imagine the whole invasion side of this. Innocent people were also arrested for suspected involvement. So this asshat that not only tried to orchestrate a coup and got a bunch of people killed, obviously gets arrested. At the time, he is dating or good friends with or roommates a gal called Jen Gatien. She's a filmmaker, and after his arrest, she decides to make a film about him. That's kind of her claim to fame. But when he gets arrested, the judge actually sets a bond. He was only in jail for a few weeks. And it's interesting because both her and he are Canadian born. So they have another country to go to. They have money and clearly have demonstrated flight risk based on all the countries he's fucking with. But nevertheless, he gets a bond. She puts her $2 million apartment as collateral for that bond. And when you do that, you're basically saying that you will be responsible if they miss court or anything like that. And like any judge or attorney knows, he was at flight risk, and he sure as shit did not show up to his court date. He is still a free man. Now, Jen Gatien, not knowing how things work, says she regrets doing it, and she's trying to reach out to the courts and do things right because he ended up becoming mentally and physically abusive to her. Surprise, surprise. On October 31st, after he had failed to appear, and by the way, this is for illegal trafficking of firearms, over 60 AR-15s that he smuggled into Venezuela that are in God knows whose hands now. If you don't believe me when I say that it is the United States that creates chaos and violence in these other countries that we then attack and make more violent. October 31st, Halloween of this year, a judge ordered an arrest warrant for him. But he, law enforcement, and Kash Patel's FBI have no idea where he's at. I almost forgot to tell you guys the most important part. So, part of his case, by the way, involved him having all kinds of cryptocurrency, and he used that to bribe the girlfriend for the bond, which is even more fucking bananas in terms of an indicator that he would flee the country. So anyways, he's missing. But remember what else I was telling you about really like early on in this administration, like summer, fall, around the same time that she was reporting that he was like losing his shit. That is when a whole bunch of older retired special ops in Florida were receiving letters saying, oh, hey, see something, say something. Basically, the letter was like, if you were a special ops, which he was, in these countries, which he'd been to, and from Florida, which he's from, there's just kind of, we can't really tell you why, but we really need you guys to be on high alert. So I do feel like there's a connection there, but there's also connections with these contractors and other things in the Middle East. And again, it's the United States, so it could be anything, but I do find that interesting. And I guess my point in saying that is that there is a heavily armed man out there with special ops training, and nobody knows where he's at, and he's dangerous. And I just needed to close off Venezuela for a little bit because next time you see me, we're going to be moving from Venezuela to Iran. Pack your bags. And I need you to stay tough because it's going to get worse.